Sexual attraction isn't what you've been told. It's not chemistry or magic. It's a mirror reflecting your deepest wounds. Ever wondered why you're drawn to people who hurt you? Or why your relationships feel like a battleground? It's not coincidence. It's your psyche pulling the strings. Let's dive into the darkest truth behind attraction, uncover the real forces at play, and discover how you can break free from this destructive cycle. Sexual attraction can control your life, but it doesn't have to. Discover the truth behind your desires and break free. For deeper healing, grab my ebook 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust Before It Destroys You. Link in the description. When you feel a magnetic pull towards someone, it's easy to assume that it's love, pure, simple, and natural. But what if the truth is darker, more complex than that? What if that intense attraction is not about the person in front of you, but something buried deep inside of you, waiting to be seen? You're not drawn to the person themselves. You're drawn to the parts of yourself that you've ignored, rejected, or failed to develop. It's not chemistry, it's projection, your shadow at work. You've probably experienced it. That overpowering sense that someone has a quality that just clicks with you, something you can't resist. They seem to complete you in a way that feels right, almost predestined. But beneath this connection lies a deeper, unsettling truth. The more you're drawn to them, the more you're actually drawn to the parts of yourself that they mirror. These parts, your suppressed desires, emotions, and characteristics, are hidden within your unconscious. The attraction is not the person themselves, but the reflection of what you lack, what you need to confront. It's like seeing yourself for the first time in a mirror, except you've never been willing to look at that reflection. So, when someone else reflects it back to you, it feels intense, powerful, and even transformative. But here's the catch. That person is not completing you. They're triggering an aspect of you that you've never fully faced. And that can be both exhilarating and dangerous. You think you're falling in love, but in reality, you're falling in love with your own unacknowledged parts. The deeper you go into this, the more you realize that attraction often mirrors unresolved pain. For instance, you might find yourself irresistibly drawn to someone who embodies qualities that were missing in your childhood or past experiences, whether it's affection, validation, or safety. It's not that the person is inherently perfect for you. They might even be toxic, manipulative, or emotionally unavailable. Yet, something inside you keeps pulling you back. That's the shadow at work. The unconscious mind trying to fill a void, to heal a wound, or to recreate a situation where you didn't get what you needed. It's not just a random feeling or chance encounter. It's a pattern, one that repeats itself in different forms with different people. The faces may change, but the underlying emotional dynamic stays the same. You're not choosing based on love, but based on a subconscious need to resolve an internal conflict or emotional injury. If you never address this, you'll keep chasing the same destructive patterns over and over, mistaking them for love, when in fact, they're just projections of what's left unresolved within you. Now, think about this. How many times have you been drawn to someone and known, deep down, that they weren't right for you? Maybe they were unavailable, emotionally distant, or simply not aligned with your values. But still, you were hooked. That's the shadow's influence. Your unconscious has mistaken them for the key to your own personal transformation. But the reality is that they are simply a projection of what you need to face within yourself. It's a dangerous loop, one that feels almost impossible to break because it taps into a part of you that craves resolution, even if it's through unhealthy means. So, what can you do about it? First, you must become aware of the pattern. Recognize that your attraction isn't about finding someone perfect for you. It's about confronting the parts of yourself that you've neglected. Once you see it for what it is, you can begin to unravel the projection, healing the unconscious wounds that created it in the first place. Only then can you step away from the cycle and allow real, conscious love to enter your life. You've felt it before, the intense pull towards someone, a connection so deep it seems almost fated. But what if that attraction isn't love at all? What if, instead, it's a reflection of something buried deep within your own psyche? When we meet someone who resonates with us on a level that feels like completion, it's not just chemistry, it's the meeting of opposites within ourselves. Every human being carries within them two unconscious forces, the anima and the animus. The anima represents the feminine aspect of a man's unconscious, and the animus, the masculine aspect of a woman's unconscious. These aren't just abstract, philosophical ideas. They are dynamic, emotionally charged figures that shape the way we experience the world and, more importantly, how we relate to others. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself inexplicably drawn to someone who embodies qualities you wish you had? Perhaps it's someone who's bold, assertive, or emotionally available in ways that you've suppressed in yourself. Or, on the other hand, maybe you're attracted to someone who's withdrawn, elusive, or a bit cold, reflecting the parts of you that you've repressed or never fully embraced. These figures, the anima and animus, don't just represent ideals. They hold the key to understanding our deepest desires and unhealed wounds. Attraction to someone who reflects your anima or animus can feel like a powerful connection, but it often leads to confusion and dissatisfaction because it's not real love, it's projection. What we are truly attracted to in these moments is not the person themselves, but the part of ourselves that we've neglected or denied. We mistake these traits in others for something external that will fulfill us, but in reality, we're trying to reconnect with parts of ourselves that we've ignored. The desire is not for the person, but for the completion of our internal story. This connection can be intoxicating, blurring the lines between what's genuine and what's psychological need. When you meet someone who seems to mirror your inner opposite, it feels almost magical. They hold everything you feel you're missing, making it easy to confuse this deep longing for love. But when you look closer, you realize this attraction isn't about connection, it's about projection. Your unconscious is seeing them as the embodiment of what you're lacking, not the person they truly are. In these moments, it can feel as though your soul is calling out for them. But in truth, it's not love you're after. It's the unresolved issues within yourself that need attention. And so, you become trapped in a cycle, continually drawn to the same kind of person, hoping for a different outcome each time. But the pattern repeats itself, and each time it does, the wound becomes deeper. Understanding the anima and animus forces within you isn't about avoiding attraction. It's about becoming aware of it. It's about learning to discern when your desires are being led by unconscious projections, and when they are truly rooted in a genuine connection. When you meet someone who mirrors your anima or animus, ask yourself, am I drawn to this person for who they are, or because they represent something I haven't yet integrated within myself? By recognizing the unconscious opposite within us, we begin the process of individuation, embracing both our masculine and feminine qualities to become whole. Only then can we truly experience love that's free from the shadows of our projections. This journey isn't easy, but it's the path toward true emotional freedom and healthy, fulfilling relationships. We often believe that love is about connection, chemistry, and mutual attraction. But what if that powerful pull towards someone isn't really about them at all? What if it's a mirror reflecting something far deeper and darker within you? An unresolved pain that your unconscious is trying desperately to heal. This is the trap many of us fall into without even realizing it. From childhood, we all experience moments of neglect, rejection, or emotional wounds that we never fully address. These wounds shape our desires and the way we view relationships. We may find ourselves attracted to partners who unknowingly mirror the very pain we've never healed. It's not that we're consciously choosing these people, but rather, our unresolved emotional trauma drives us to seek out situations that seem strangely familiar, even if they're unhealthy. Our psyche draws us to the very thing we need to heal, but ironically, this often leads to more pain. You might think you're chasing love or connection, but the truth is, you're chasing a resolution to your past. Imagine being a child who wasn't fully seen, heard, or loved by a parent, and then growing up to feel that same emotional void. Now, as an adult, you might find yourself constantly drawn to people who are emotionally distant, manipulative, or even cold. Why? Because your unconscious is searching for that missing piece, attempting to resolve what was never given to you in your formative years. This is where addiction to unresolved pain becomes so dangerous. We are not just attracted to individuals, we're addicted to the emotional patterns they represent. We become trapped in a cycle where we seek out relationships that replicate the emotional experiences we had growing up. But the truth is, No matter how hard we try, we will never be able to heal from past wounds by reliving them through others. The craving for validation and the desperate need for affection mirror our childhood experiences, and as adults, we repeat these patterns over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where, despite knowing the person was not right for you, you couldn't help but be drawn to them? It might be because their behavior triggers something deep inside you. Perhaps they offer the same emotional highs and lows that you experienced in your past. The emotional chaos feels familiar, even if it's destructive. It's not love, it's a compulsion. A need to fix something that was never fixed in your childhood. When we look at it this way, it becomes clear that attraction, especially in toxic relationships, isn't about the person we're involved with at all. It's about the emotional wound they represent. We become addicted to the feeling of pain, the rush of trying to fix something that was never resolved. But the reality is, no amount of external validation or love from others can heal the internal scars we carry unless we first acknowledge and address them within ourselves. Breaking this cycle begins with awareness. Once you realize that your attractions are often tied to unresolved emotional trauma, you can begin the process of healing. It's about understanding that your worth is not tied to someone else's ability to fill the gaps you've been carrying around since childhood. It's about breaking free from the addictive pull of past pain and learning to choose relationships that reflect your growth, healing, and self-love, not the wounds that you're still trying to fix. Have you ever felt an intense attraction to someone who isn't right for you? It's almost like being pulled by an invisible force, even when you know the relationship is flawed. You might rationalize it, believing it's love or passion, but deep down, it's something much darker. This powerful pull isn't love. It's your unconscious mind reaching out to heal an old wound, and you're caught in what can only be called a projection trap. The projection trap works like this. When we're emotionally wounded, we seek out relationships that mirror those unresolved feelings, hoping this time we'll get the resolution we need. You might not consciously realize it, but you're not falling for who that person really is. You're falling for the part of yourself they reflect. The part that hasn't been healed. The unmet need, the broken piece, the shadow you've been avoiding. This is why we can be drawn to people who bring us emotional pain, who aren't good for us. It's not that we're blind to the red flags or warning signs. On the surface, we know better. But the unconscious mind doesn't operate on logic. It operates on emotion, and emotion wants to finish what was left unfinished. It seeks to resolve the pain from the past, even if it has to do so in unhealthy, destructive ways. The person you're attracted to might not be the one you need, but they are the one that your psyche thinks can complete the story. Why does this happen? Why do we feel so compelled by people who, in the light of day, we know aren't right for us? The truth is, we're not attracted to the person. We're attracted to the emotions they trigger in us. These emotions are deeply embedded in our psyche, often tied to past wounds, maybe from childhood, or a past relationship, or some traumatic experience we've never fully processed. These emotions call to us because they are familiar, even if they are painful. It's a twisted way our mind tries to heal itself, by revisiting the same old pain, hoping that this time, we can resolve it. This emotional healing doesn't come from the relationship itself. It comes from understanding why we are drawn to the wrong people, why we continue to repeat the same patterns. But here's the catch. You can't heal from a wound by constantly reopening it. You can't fix your emotional scars by seeking out people who will only deepen them. Yet, time and again, that's what we do. We recreate old pain, hoping to rewrite the past, to get it right this time. But the past can't be rewritten. The only way out of this trap is to stop looking for healing in the wrong places. Understanding this dynamic is the first step in breaking the cycle. Once you realize that your emotional attraction isn't about the other person, but about your need for healing, you can begin to reclaim control. You stop chasing the illusion of completion, the false belief that someone else can fill your emptiness. True healing comes when you take the time to address the wounds within yourself, rather than project them onto others. It's when you stop seeking someone else's love to fix what's broken inside of you. By facing your own pain, integrating your shadow, and healing from within, you create space for a healthier, more authentic love to enter your life. You can learn to choose relationships that truly reflect your wholeness, not relationships that are based on an emotional need for validation or resolution. Real love isn't about fixing each other. It's about being whole together. If you're ready to break free from the cycle of lust and emotional traps, grab my ebook 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust. Start your journey toward healing today. Link in the description and pinned comment. You've felt it, haven't you? That magnetic pull towards someone who seems to hold all the power. It's intoxicating. You chase them, even though logic tells you they're not good for you. You don't understand it, but the draw is undeniable. What you're feeling isn't love. It's a manipulation of your deepest desires. The very attraction that consumes you can be weaponized, and the truth is, most people don't even know they're being controlled. In this world, power often isn't about strength or force, it's about influence. And when it comes to relationships, especially sexual attraction, the dynamic is no different. Some people instinctively understand that attraction is a powerful tool, something they can manipulate to control others. The game is subtle, and the stakes are high. You've seen it. The emotionally unavailable person who pulls you in with just enough affection to keep you hooked. The person who is charming, seductive, but never truly available for anything deeper. They've mastered the art of creating an illusion, and you're drawn into their orbit without even realizing it. This is more than just a simple attraction. It's a power play. They know exactly how to withhold affection, how to make you chase after them, and how to ignite a longing in you that feels like it will consume you. This isn't love, it's manipulation. It's a psychological trap, where every part of your being is drawn into a cycle of emotional highs and lows, believing it's passion, but in reality, it's control disguised as romance. How does this work? It starts with emotional unavailability. The more distant someone is, the more you crave them. There's a psychological reason for this. When someone withholds affection, it triggers something deep within us, an emotional wound we may not even realize we're carrying. For some, it's the pain of not being seen or validated in childhood. For others, it's the fear of abandonment. But no matter what the source is, the effect is the same. The harder they pull away, the more you want them. You're not chasing them, really. You're chasing the feeling of being chosen, of finally earning the love you've always wanted. And they know this. It becomes a vicious cycle. Every time they pull away, you try harder. You give more. You compromise your own emotional needs just to get a fraction of their attention. And in return, they gain power over your emotions, your time, and your energy. This dynamic plays out over and over, leaving you feeling drained, confused, and often heartbroken. And all the while, they remain in control, watching you bend to their whims, never fully opening up or offering you the real connection you crave. But it's not just about playing hard to get. The more subtle manipulation is when someone becomes a mirror to your deepest desires, your fantasies, your unhealed wounds. They reflect what you want to see. The perfect partner, the one who fills the void. But in reality, they're not really there for you. They're there for themselves, using your emotional vulnerability to boost their sense of power and control. You may feel like you're falling in love, but you're actually falling for the version of yourself they've created in their mind. It's not just toxic relationships that follow this pattern. It happens in the most unexpected places, in friendships, and even in the people who seem to be the most loving. They know how to give just enough to keep you hooked, to keep you coming back, while never truly meeting your emotional needs. It's a trap that keeps you stuck in a cycle of desire and disappointment. And the only way out is to recognize it for what it truly is: manipulation. Understanding this dynamic doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. When you begin to see through the illusion, you can start to break free. The first step is awareness. Recognizing when you're being manipulated allows you to take your power back. You don't have to fall victim to the games anymore. Instead, you can choose relationships based on real connection, not on the emotional highs and lows that come with being manipulated. Only then can you truly be free to love, not from a place of need or insecurity, but from a place of self-awareness and strength. We all carry invisible threads of the past, and if we're not careful, those threads can bind us to patterns that repeat over and over again, no matter how much we want to break free. Why is it that, time and again, we find ourselves attracting the same kind of people, the same situations, or even the same emotional wounds? It's not coincidence. It's something far deeper, something we must confront. The truth is, most of us are not fully aware of how our past shapes our present. Our emotional history, the unresolved pain, the childhood wounds, and the unhealed trauma, it all creates a cycle. And the more we try to avoid it, the more we end up walking right into it. You might feel like you're repeating the same story in different chapters of your life, but it's not fate pulling you along. It's your own unconscious mind, seeking to resolve what was left unresolved. This is where the idea of karma comes in, not as a mystical concept, but as a psychological force that guides our actions in ways we don't always recognize. Karma isn't just about past actions catching up with us in some divine judgment. It's about unfinished emotional business. It's the unconscious mind trying to heal, but in the wrong way. You keep encountering the same emotional wounds, hoping to fix them, but the cycle continues because the solution was never truly addressed. It was simply repeated. Ever wondered why you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners, or why you find yourself in relationships that drain you? It's not because you're choosing poorly. It's because your unconscious mind is choosing for you, based on unresolved emotional needs. You may be drawn to someone because they reflect a wound you haven't healed. The pain is familiar. The wound feels like home, so you keep coming back, thinking this time will be different. But it isn't. It's the same old cycle, over and over again. This is the danger of what's called repetition compulsion. We are drawn to recreate our past, to rewrite the narrative we never got to finish, even if it means repeating the same painful chapter. The mind isn't trying to torture you, it's trying to find resolution. But it doesn't know how. It only knows what it has experienced before, so it draws you into situations that mirror past traumas. You might think you're falling in love with someone, but what's really happening is that you're falling into your own emotional loop. The problem with this is that no healing can take place as long as you're stuck in the cycle. You think you're looking for love, validation, or connection, but what you're really looking for is resolution. You're trying to solve the puzzle that has been with you since childhood, hoping that this time, the pieces will fit. But they never do, because the emotional wounds you're carrying need healing, not just repetition. Breaking free from this cycle isn't about trying harder or finding someone different. It's about confronting the unresolved pain that's driving you to keep repeating these patterns. The solution lies in self-awareness, seeing the cycles for what they are, understanding that what you're really craving is not a person, but healing. Only when you become conscious of these unconscious patterns can you finally break free from them and start choosing love from a place of wholeness, not from a place of need. The unconscious mind will keep pulling you back to the same emotional patterns until you learn the lesson it's trying to teach. But once you understand that these repetitions are a call for healing, not just the pursuit of another fix, you can step off the carousel. Only then will the cycles lose their grip, and you can finally move forward, free from the past that has held you captive for so long. True love begins with understanding who you truly are. The path to genuine connection is not through another person, but through yourself. If you've ever found yourself caught in the web of unhealthy relationships, drawn to the same patterns again and again, you've probably wondered, why does this keep happening? It's because we often seek love not from a place of wholeness but from a place of lack. When you're driven by unhealed wounds, you aren't really choosing your partners. You're being led by your subconscious, chasing fragments of yourself. The real journey begins when you stop looking outward and start looking inward. This is where individuation comes in, the process of integrating the parts of yourself that you've neglected or repressed. Every person has a shadow, the hidden parts of themselves, often the emotions or traits that they've pushed away because they were deemed unacceptable or too painful to face. When we deny these parts of ourselves, they don't simply disappear. They remain, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and most importantly, our relationships. The path to true love requires you to confront and integrate this shadow. It's easy to point fingers, blaming others for your unhappiness or for the emotional chaos you feel in your relationships. But the reality is, when you're not fully conscious of the parts of yourself that you've hidden away, You attract people who reflect these unresolved wounds. This is why you might feel drawn to people who bring out your worst fears or frustrations, or who leave you feeling emotionally drained and empty. They aren't causing the pain, they're reflecting it back to you. Healing starts when you stop the cycle of projection and begin the work of individuation. It's about learning to accept all parts of yourself, including the dark, uncomfortable aspects that you've been avoiding. These are often the parts that have been hurt or abandoned in your past. But healing doesn't mean simply understanding these parts. It means embracing them. It means taking responsibility for your own emotional well-being and no longer waiting for someone else to complete you or fix what's broken inside. True love, then, is not something you find in another person. It's something you create within yourself first. When you heal the wounds of your past, when you make peace with your shadow and integrate it, you become whole. Only then can you attract a love that isn't based on need or fear, but on mutual growth and respect. Only then can you truly choose a partner, rather than being unconsciously drawn to someone who merely reflects your unresolved pain. The beauty of individuation is that it frees you from the unconscious patterns that have kept you trapped in toxic cycles. It allows you to move beyond the need for validation or the desire to fix your past. When you are fully integrated, when you understand and love yourself, you no longer need someone else to heal you. You can show up in relationships as your authentic self, not as a version of yourself that is constantly trying to fill a void. This isn't just about romantic love, it's about all forms of love. It's about creating relationships that are based on real connection, not on the unconscious projections of your past wounds. When you've done the hard work of individuation, love becomes a force for healing, not a battlefield. It becomes something that nourishes both you and the people you connect with, helping you grow into the best version of yourself, free from the chains of past pain. The truth is, the journey to true love starts with confronting your own shadows. Only when you embrace the deepest parts of yourself, those hidden wounds and desires, can you free yourself from unhealthy patterns and toxic relationships. Love isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about becoming whole within yourself first. When you heal, you no longer need to chase what hurts you. Instead, you attract love that nurtures and grows you. If you're tired of being trapped in destructive cycles, it's time to take control. If you're ready to break free from lust and truly heal, I've written something that can guide you. 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust Before It Destroys You is available now. Check the link in the description. It's time to stop letting your desires control you and start living a life rooted in healing and true love.